What's up with it? 5 in the morning. Getting to it. Back at this motherfucking field station. I ain't see it. Can't see it. Anyway, whatever. 5 in the morning. Getting to it. Shit. Was it Friday? Did you get your donut today? Go get your donut. That's what we got. We got a half moon. I don't even think that's a half moon. Yeah, that ain't even a half moon. Shit, it's like, I don't know what they call that shit. It's like a quarter of a moon. Look like that moon they used to draw when we was in school when the cow jumped over the moon. That's how it look. I don't know why they drew that moon like that when we was kids. They had that moon, you remember, it was like, it looked like a damn banana and shit. Her moon was a whole fucking ball. They drawing a half moon and shit, giving it a face, and that's just dumb shit. They raised us on like a lot of dumbass shit growing up. But I think it was more so because back then it was driven on like imagination, just being imaginative and thinking outside the box or seeing something different than what it actually was. I really feel like a lot of that's what it was about, because that's how you create. When you create, you in more of an imaginary space because you're thinking of something that don't exist that could exist. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they was pushing that a lot when we was growing up. You like the 70s and 80s babies. A lot of the stuff that they was just showing us and stuff as far as cartoon shows and learning channels and stuff like that was, all about imagination and thinking outside the box. Now they don't really be on that no more with these kids. I really don't think they want them using their imagination. I think they purposely trying to keep these kids in the box. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them thinking outside the box, because when these kids start, the last thing that the people in powerful positions these days want is to have the technology of today with the access to knowledge and materials of today. The last thing they want is have a generation of open-minded, out-the-box thinking motherfucker. They went through that with that last generation. That generation that created them goddamn bitcoins and created goddamn, what did they create? Bitcoins, goddamn, what's that? NFTs. And we're just doing all that different shit. They had broke the matrix, and the motherfuckers was in their fucking 20s, 25, 30, making millions and billions of dollars and shit. Them folks like, hell no. We ain't having it. It's fucked up too. Because shit, they wasn't doing no more than what they was taught to do for real. And then they motherfuckers come and shit, on the darker side, a lot of them motherfuckers they killed off. A lot of them Bitcoin guys, a lot of them people that was breaking the code on the goddamn stock market and shit. A lot of them motherfuckers got killed off. Cause you fucking with people, cause they was fucking with people money. You know what I'm saying? Even though it ain't their motherfucking money. Shit, they stole it from somebody else they goddamn self. But they wasn't stealing. That's the crazy part about it. The motherfuckers wasn't stealing. They just figured out a new way to see things and think about things and do things. That's all it was. It wasn't a lot of them that created a lot of shit. It made them millions between like 2015 to probably about 2015, 2020, maybe 2023. A lot of them guys, they they was the shit they was doing wasn't even illegal. They just was thinking outside the box. It's like, man, we could do this. It ain't nothing to say we can't do it. So now, when you look at these schools, they teaching these kids so goddamn backwards. That's why it's important to be, you have to be a hands-on parent to where you make up for where the schools fall off. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have the money to put your kids like in a private school that like, you know, prepares them to be more advanced than, you know, a kid going to public school. If your kid's going to a public school, you got to make up for where the school leave off. Them schools ain't teaching them kids shit. I think people should still teach their kids cursive, even though we don't use it. I just still think it's just because you still come across shit that's written in cursive. You got old literature that's written in cursive, and you got books, old ass books that's written in cursive, and shit, you know, you might not always come across AI. And then you gotta look at it like this: the best way to find true information is if you get your hands on the book. If you get your hands on the book, especially if it's an original book or an old book, you got more of a chance or possibility of having the more accurate information or more factual information versus Google or Wikipedia or whatever you call that other shit. I was thinking about that. But yeah, I'm just saying, man. You gotta make sure your kids are prepared out here. That's what it is. It's not everybody always on that whole. Everybody's always on that whole. Everybody's always on that whole generational wealth shit. You can't build no generational wealth if your kids is dumb. If you got dumbass kids, you can't build generational wealth. And the reason why I say that is because you could take all the time in the world to do everything you need to do to make sure your kids are financially straight when you gone. But if your kids don't know what the fuck to do with it, all they gonna do is fuck it off. Cause that's what our parents did with our grandparents, with our grandparents stuff. Our grandparents bought houses. Left insurance policies, and what our parents do, fucked all that shit off. Fucked it all off. Didn't utilize that shit for nothing. Them motherfuckers was. It's just so much shit, bro. It's like. So when you talk about generational wealth, it ain't no generational wealth if it ain't no knowledge. So you can holler, oh man, I'm trying to, be on generational wealth and generational wealth this. Man, you can holler. I need to get some more of this shit. I ain't got none. You can holler generational wealth all motherfucking day. But if your kids is generationally dumb, everything that you work for, everything that you built for your kids could be gone within 6 months to a year after you die. Just because your kids is financially dumb. You know what I'm saying? It's just or financially literate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us done seen it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's important that you teach your kids as you go, because you have to teach your kids. You know what I'm saying? You got to make up for you can't drop your kids off at these bum ass underfunded schools and think that your kids gonna come out. Now some kids come out on top because they just naturally gifted, and they just naturally got a hunger for it because it's in their personality, it's who they are. They not taught that. It just comes out of them. You know what I'm saying? And so they go get it or whatever the case may be. But you got some kids that need to be taught. And you have to teach them, man. It's like, and then you got to explain, like for example, my grandparents, let me move out the way. My grandparents was always stressing, my grandparents was always stressing, I don't want to say stressing. I don't want to say that. But they was always talking to me about, like, every decision they made concerning their house. Like, they had a house. And they was always talking about the reasons why they was doing the things that they was doing with the house. And it was for a reason. It was for a purpose, because they was getting older. They started getting older, and so they started doing a lot of work to the house, trying to, make the house nice. They was doing that shit for my mom, aunts, and uncles, like all them. They was doing that for all of them. So I'm like, okay, cool. At the time I was a kid, I was going to the bank with them when they was like refinancing and doing different things. Like, I wasn't doing nothing. They just would take me with them for whatever reason. Then they would have these conversations. They would tell me, like, why they was doing what they was doing, the point behind what they was doing, and all that kind of stuff like that. But they wasn't telling the kid, like, they wasn't telling my mama, my aunts and uncles, and all that shit, like the people who it actually mattered to. So they wasn't telling it to the people who it actually mattered to. So you know what I'm saying, they passed, years later they passed. They told me all that shit mostly when I was a kid and I was going with them. Then they told me that shit, they told me it later on when I was an adult, because, they was definitely older then, and they was like remodeling like the kitchen, and they had got new siding put around the house, and they was just doing all kinds of shit. And they was, at that time, I'm a grown adult, and they older, and so they was like, we ain't gonna be here too much longer, we old now, and so we just want to leave something for our kids that's gonna be worth something. We don't want to just leave them nothing. Like, we don't want to leave them the house and the house need a lot of repairs, or it's just a lot of problems with the house, or they want to leave them something that was of value. Because my grandma was like, she always wanted the family to have a place to stay. If no matter what they was going through, like, that was always a concern with my grandmother, was making sure the family had a place to stay in time of need. If they was going through something, that was very important to her. And so they telling me this, I don't recall them ever telling my mama or my aunts and uncle this. I don't recall. They might have did, and I just wasn't there, so I don't want to say they didn't do it. It just seemed like they did, but I don't know if they did or not for real. And so it's like they passed, and then it's like, I know my grandpa, he had life insurance policies and shit, and life insurance policies on my granny, and all this other kind of stuff. And because my grandma talked to me about that after he died, and so she was like, yeah, he left me insurance policy of I think she said insurance policy, pension, 401k, and all this stuff. And she was like, he did right by me. I don't have to worry about nothing for the rest of my life. I don't know what happened with that money. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where that money went. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And so, they let a particular family member be over everything, and every time this particular family member's always over something, shit, money disappear like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother issue. But at the end of the day, in my mind, like maybe they didn't, relate the message to them and tell them this is what we want, this is why we doing this, that, and third. I don't know. They might have did, they might didn't. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you go bust your ass and work your fingers to the bone, thinking that you providing for your kids, thinking that you providing for your grandkids, thinking that you doing all this and that and the third, and they gonna be appreciative of it, and they gonna know what to do with it, and they gonna take care of it. They not. If you don't teach them and give them the understanding, they are not gonna take care of it. They gonna fuck it out. If you looking at your kids now and they not responsible, they not financially responsible, like they don't have no savings habit, they don't have no investment habits, like they not doing none of that shit. They ain't doing shit. When you die, they gonna fuck off everything that you done worked your ass off for. They gonna fuck it off. They gonna fuck off every last bit of it. If that shit gonna be gone within 6 months to a year, if you leave them with $100,000, if you leave them with a house and $100,000, that house is gonna be gone within a year or two, maybe 3 at the most, if ain't nobody living in it. And especially if it's in the area, don't let it be in the area they don't want to live in. It's definitely gonna be fucked off. It's like they gonna let their house be fucked off, then they gonna sell it when it ain't worth shit. Then if you left them in cash or in the insurance policy, 100,000 plus 200, they gonna fuck all that off within a year or two. It's gonna be within. I don't even give them a year, cause I ain't never seen nobody make it a year with $100,000 that they done got from the insurance policy. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like people just don't be thinking it. So it's like at the end of the day, a lot of times us as black people, a lot of the younger people be like, oh, they didn't leave us no insurance. Why we don't have no insurance policies, or why we don't have, no properties, no houses. My nigga, we did. We had houses, we had land, we had ranches, we had farmland, we had insurance policies, we had motherfucking pension plans, 401k, all kinds of shit. Our parents fucked that shit off. Yo, and it's like if you was born in the 2000s and you like what, you might be 20, 22, 23, 24, 25 now, you asking this question like, why black people don't have this, why black people don't have that? Cause more than likely, you might have a mom of my generation, that from my generation, parents from my generation more than likely. So you may have parents from my generation. So I'm gonna say it like this, your grandparents fucked that shit off. That's what happened. Your grandparents fucked that shit off. Your grandparents sold the house that could have been a generational investment. Your grandparents fucked off the 100,000, 200,000 insurance policies that could have paid for your motherfucking schooling if they would have invested it right. The shit was there. The shit been there. I ain't gonna say it was like that for every motherfucking family, but for a good amount of motherfucking families. You know what I'm saying? It's motherfuckers could have been in a lot different position if money was handled a little bit better back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But like you being born in 2000, between 2000 and 2005 or 2010, and then you coming up now and becoming, in your 20, 21, 22, 23, whatever the fuck you are, and you like, why we don't have this? Why we don't have that, man? Because they fucked it off. They fucked it off. The 2-3 generations before you fucked it off. All them motherfucking 60s babies fucked it off. All them motherfuckers who was born in the 60s fucked off all of the back financial wealth that was built by the people that was born in the 20s and the 30s. The people in the fucking 60s came along and fucked all that shit off. They fucked it off. I'm telling you, man, that's really what it is. That's a part of what it is. That's a part of what it is. This done went a little bit longer than I was intended it to go, but you know, whatever. Y'all have a good morning. Make sure you go get your donut.